And good evening, everybody. How are we all today? Hopefully, I'm coming through loud and clear. I see there's lots of chat going on already. So, how are we all? What have we been up to this week in our own veg patches? It's been a busy one. I've had a couple of days off work due to furlough this week, which has meant extra time in the garden, which has been great because, as you can probably tell, I've had a bit of a rearrange and a sort out in here. Hopefully it looks better for you guys as well. And what else have we been doing? We planted out some potatoes and planted out some onions. That was a day down on the allotment yesterday doing all that. Quite glad to get both of those potatoes and onions in the ground because it's a job that I grow far too many of both, and it's a job that takes a while. But once they're in, pretty much forget about them, isn't it? Just keep them watered, keep them weed free, and that's it. And they are off and growing. Added to that, what else have we been doing? We've been sowing more seeds. And I have actually sold some plants, which is what we're going to be asking a bit later on. Firstly, if anybody wants to call in, let me know. And the numbers coming across the bottom of the screen right now. I'll go through the comments quickly. Let me know what you've been up to in your own allotment and garden. So first of all, Ballycillian was slightly early tonight. We were joined by Adrian Cable. Hello to you. Ballycillian is saying it was a lovely day on the allotment. Got loads done. Oracle is out there and saying, hi all, I hope you've had a good day. Who have we got? Turbo Stream is saying hello to all the veg growers. Ernie has joined and he is saying, evening Richard, has been a good week for gardening. Forecast for another dry week can only be good. Hargrave Gas is evening, busy weekend in the garden. Spring is beginning to sprout. Turbo Stream, it's been great and cold in the Midlands this week. Not much veg growing to be had. Stuart Jackson has joined us, who's given me the idea of the topic we're going to be talking about today. And Amanda Joy has joined. Hello to you. I hope you are well. There's somebody in the Facebook group. If you're in the Facebook group, I may not see who you are. But please do keep commenting, or you can do what Stuart Reynolds done and says his name in the same thing. Richard Golden, have you got a new mic today? No, it's the same mic. I might be slightly further back from it, but I've got to admit, this mic that I use is one of the cheapest microphones I've ever bought, and it sounds pretty damn good, considering I'm in quite a echoey place. Stuart Reynolds, I know that because he says about his compost bins have finished. Beautiful picture in our Facebook group. Anybody wants to go see that? Nigel, Mr. Muddy Boots, hello all. Planting onions today and harvest another large Sarpo Myra tub. I'm glad you brought that up, Nigel, because I finished harvesting my potatoes a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was the only person that left my potatoes in the ground. So I'm glad to hear not the only one. Been tending my seeds, but have more to sow yet. From somebody in the Facebook group. Nui99, good evening to you. Stuart has got his potatoes in. Runner beans are sown. Cabbage pricked out today. And Digwell has joined us. He's saying, I have been cooking for 2 days, no gardening to speak of. Hope you've been cooking your homegrown veg. Right, so keep the comments coming in, or if you want to call in on 07307 135 174, then please do. Just realised I've left my headphones all the way over there. So leave a comment on the chat and I will read it. And hopefully if I read it out loud, I do get quite a few comments nowadays. So if I miss yours, I do apologise. Or you can zap yourself in and be part of the conversation with the link that I'm just adding right now. Now, what I want to chat to you today about is, as the question on the screen will now say, what do you do with your excess plants? Now, this comes up from a conversation I've had with Stuart Jackson earlier today, who I know Stuart, he sows lots and lots and lots of plants to sell out the front of his house, but he donates that money to charity. Fantastic, fantastic idea. Earlier today, it was my stepdad's birthday, so I popped round to my stepdad to see him, and my auntie happened to be there. We were outside and she was just leaving, so we were socially distancing, etc., etc. And my auntie also sells a lot of plants outside her house, so I gave her 4 pots of broad beans to sell outside her house. I've got about 30 pots of broad beans that are excess. I've sown too many, like I always do, and they're just sitting there, not really doing much. So I gave my auntie 4 pots, and she bought them off me for £6 for the 4 to sell on. And I was like, there's something to be said for this. And there's something I'm thinking that I might do a bit more, is try and sell off some of my excess plants in order to basically make a few more quid, and so I don't have to work as much as I do. So that's what I want to discuss today. Let's have a quick look at the comments again. So Nui, I've got great news. Had an offer on my house in Brighton, so off to Cornwall in weeks now, so can start my new veg garden. I'm hoping we're going to see some videos or pictures of that, because I know you've been planning it. I remember you saying at the CD Sunday event about it. So yeah, excited to see it and see that. Oh, recall, watch my video I put up the other day about the Christmas bed. Looking well. Yes, it's good to get it underway, and I'm so pleased to have the Christmas bed up and running. Obviously, this was something you guys helped me design. So when we put it into plan, we're going to keep coming back to it throughout the year and see how it goes. This is Debbie in the Facebook group. I'm new to the area and have been successfully growing in Spain. I'm struggling to know what can go out now. My window sills are still chock-a-block. Think I started too early, so my tomatoes are over 25 centimetres tall. Okay, well, let's concentrate on this question. Obviously, if you've got tomatoes, I'm going to say it's going to be too early for them to go outside unless you have something like a greenhouse or a cold frame. And even then, just be on the careful side. Don't know whereabouts you are in the country, but unless you are still in Spain, let me know in the comments about that. But yeah, if you are, I would say you really want to put plants outside. I normally say middle May, but you want to harden them off first, of course. What can go outside now? Onions, brassicas, broad beans, stuff that is incredibly hardy. Potatoes, they can be planted now, depending where you are in the country, of course. But those are the 4 things I would say that go outside now. Let us know in the comments if anybody else has any other thoughts on that. Money Boots is saying the excess plants he shares amongst other plot holders. Yeah, that's something I could also do. And I think something that we could also all do. I mean, I've got way too many. I was pricking out a load of tomatoes the other day, and I've got over 100 tomatoes. So definitely going to be trying to find somewhere to get rid of those. Let's have a quick look. Steve Moscow gave his to friends and family, which is a great idea. And Ballycillian has been given them to church to sell at their sales to Hope local charities, which is exactly what Stuart Jackson has been doing as well. And I know that. Yeah, Nui is hoping to start a channel on her farm that she's moving to in Cornwall. And I'm sure when that happens, we will all go out and support her with that. This is Debbie. I've got plenty of tomatoes that I thought I might sell and hold a competition for. The most tomatoes on a bracket. Prize for the most, not all sales, but all sales go to charity. There you go. That's a fantastic idea, isn't it? If you're in a local community, you can sell the plants and create a competition, and that benefits a local charity. Definitely a positive thing that plants can give to us. And Debbie is near Henfield, which isn't a million miles from me at all. Or I think if Richard Golding is still, he's even closer. So yeah, you're going to have a similar climate to me. So yes, keep your tomatoes in, but potatoes, they can go in the garden. Onions, if you've got any onions that are growing in from seed, they could go out once they're hardened off. Your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts, your kales, but just make sure they're hardened off before they go out. And what I always like to do is just put a couple of plants outside of each variety and just see how they do. And if they die back, then I'll wait a bit longer. They're sacrificial is what I call them. If they die off, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Actually, my tomato plants have gone crispy and wilted. Any thoughts, anyone? I'm going to say that sounds like they got a bit too hot and too dry, is my thoughts. The fact that you say it's gone crispy and wilted, the crispy immediately says to me it's gone too dry, which does happen, especially if they're indoors over a radiator and they've only got small pots. I mean, if you've got pots like that, they dry out in no time, which is why I tend to try and keep an eye on mine on a daily basis. And I think Muddy Boots is sort of saying the same sort of thing, either over or under watered. Stuart Jackson, I've sown parsnips in paper pots this year. I think every seed has germinated, so I will far too many for the veg pot, so they will be going on my table outside. Yeah, that's a good way. I always find parsnips, and carrots as well for that matter, get so many in a packet that people, as Stuart has said, where he's been sowing them in paper pots, which go straight in the ground. Carrots and parsnips generally, I find, do not like being transplanted. So Stuart's idea of putting them in paper pots means if he got any excess, he can also sell them on. And I think he donates to a cancer research charity, if I remember correctly. I think that's the amazing thing about gardeners. I've got to say, this is the thing I always find about gardeners, is that people will sell their excess plants and donate that money to charity. To me, it just goes to show what a good bunch of people gardeners really are. Yeah, okay, there's a few arseholes out there, but on a whole, they're a good bunch of people. And let's face it, it's a lot of work trying to grow a plant, especially from seeds. So all that hard work and all that effort that you then donate to charity, I think that is to be commended, to say the least. Yeah, this is a fantastic way of staying in touch with like-minded gardeners. Well, that's what this is all about. It's all about having a chat with everyone. And on that note, if anybody does want to call in, 07307 135 174 and let me know what you do with excess plants. Or if you want to zap yourself in, if you are in the Facebook group, you won't see the zapping link in the comments, but you will find it in the description. It's something that Facebook does that with that. I can do it on the Facebook page, but not on the Facebook group. It's annoying. Oh, we have our first caller. Let me just grab the headphones. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, Richard. It's the Origo.
Hello. How are you doing, my friend?
Dead on, Richard. Just don't know, what do you do with access plants?
Yes.
Now, really what happens with us is you could usually give them away to other plant holders. But what most of us would do is, do you see like the new person that would come on the site?
Yeah.
They aren't usually kitted up the way we would for growing our seeds and doing all that stuff. Go from scratch.
Yeah.
So usually the newcomer gets overloaded with the access stuff, just to help them out, to get them pushed through for the year.
You know what? That is a fantastic idea. It's something I've always said, that the newbie gardeners, there's no point buying or starting many plants from seeds. You're much better off going to buy plug plants as a newbie gardener, literally your first year. But if you are an allotment, that is a fantastic idea. I like that.
Yeah, see, what you find out is the first year, yourself, it's hit or miss with them, and then when everyone helps them out and gives them the stuff, usually the next year you don't see them.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
So what you would do is everyone would usually hand them, and you could share among ourselves too. Like there is ones that say, I've had a bad year growing that, and we say, well, tell you what, have access there. But 9 times out of 10, it's the new people on the plot gets all the access stuff, and they don't like to say no if you know where I'm coming from, so they do take everything.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a. I really like that idea.
That's what we do with ours anyway, Richard.
Yeah. That's something actually I would say if there's a newbie gardener and wants some plants, I've got hundreds.
Whoever's down on your side, someone's going to be a lucky person then.
Yeah, I think there are a few new people on our site, so it's definitely something I will be approaching them about and seeing if they want any plants.
No worries, Richard. Overnight from the Oracle. God bless, son.
Yeah, you take care.
Speak to you next week.
Take care.
Speak to you next week.
Cheers.
Right.
Bye. There we go. That was Oracle, first caller of the night. And what a great idea. Share them out with a newbie, a plot holder. As I said during that phone call, I do, if I get a few literally brand new plot holders or brand new, never gardened before, who email me from the podcast. And my always tip is, don't bother growing from seed. Go and buy them from a plant and just learn how to grow a plant. But if somebody can give them to you, all the better. Now, Ashley, who has had this problem with the tomato plants going crispy, is saying they are shop-bought plants and needed transplanted, and that's when it happened. So it's either the shock from coming perhaps somewhere too cold. Did you keep them indoors, or did you warm up the compost that you pop them in as well? Because what can sometimes happen is if the compost is so cold, its roots just get shocked into coldness as well, which is why what I'll always do is, if let's say I'm using this, I'd fill this up the night before, and I didn't save my seeds, give it a bit of water so it's moist, and then I'll bring it inside so it's ready to go, and it's got 24 hours to warm up. That's possibly what I think has been happening. It's just a bit of shock. You obviously sounded like Ashley was trying to do the right thing by putting them up and what have you. Or the other option is there was some bad stuff in the compost. Have you grown anything else in the compost that you've used for those tomatoes, and did they survive? Sometimes it's not unheard of for weed killer to be found in compost, particularly if it's came from a council waste recycling place. That's the two things I can think of anyway. So I think I may do some loo rolls so I can take to Cornwall and plant. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, definitely. Loo rolls seem to work quite well. I got my loo roll collection kicked out of the house because I would hoard loads of them and then never ended up using them. And Amanda, who said, no, get rid of them. By the way, Amanda's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks' time, my wife, on Easter Sunday. We're going to do something a bit fun. We have another caller here. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, definitely. Loo rolls seem to work quite well. I
can hear myself in the background.
Kicked out of the house because I would hoard loads of them.
Hello.
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 Oh, is this not the potting shed?
It is the potting shed. Yes. It's a delay.
Oh, he's busy talking.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, it's coming through.
Yeah. Do you want to turn your computer down?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, it's Debbie.
Oh, hello, Debbie, and how are you?
I'm very well. Yes, I just thought I'd check in with you.
Yeah.
As I said, I've just moved from Spain, and I'm finding it confusing knowing. Oh, there's a bit of a delay, isn't there?
Could you turn your computer down?
Oh, hang on, it's coming through.
Do you want to turn your computer down?
Yeah, I will do. Hold on.
Fantastic. Sorry, it's a bit difficult to hear. There you go. That's better.
Right. Yes, I've actually started planting when I would have done in Spain.
Right.
And I've planted loads and loads of tomatoes, basil, patty pans. And then I spoke to a lovely lady in Small Dole who's she's actually collecting funds to feed African children.
Right. Hello? Are you there, Debbie? I think we've lost her. Hopefully she'll come back. She's still on the line, but I cannot hear her at all. So I hate hanging up on anyone, but I can't hear her. Hopefully she'll call back, and we'll continue that conversation on. Amanda Kirkland is. That is a brilliant idea, Bastilian. Do you belong to the church? So, here we go. They're back. Hello.
Hello, it's Debbie again.
Hello.
I've moved nearer to my Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, lovely.
Okay, right. I've been growing like crazy since January, February. I only moved here in December. And obviously I'm very confused because things that I would have had outside in Spain, I clearly can't. So every single windowsill is full of plants. And yes, I'd be interested in plant swaps.
Yeah.
You know, a bit of excess on what I'm growing, something that maybe I haven't thought about growing. But also, there's a very lovely lady also in Small Dole that's knitting things for feeding African children.
Yeah.
So I said to her today, I would be more than happy to sort of donate some plants, but also the Edel tomatoes, which the packet says up to 80 fruit per brat.
Yeah.
And then I've looked online, and yeah, it could be 40 to 50. But what a great competition that would be if I can give some plants to people.
Yeah.
And I just thought it's a good way to give back to someone, because I think gardening is planting and sharing. We're all lovely people, and we swap plants. It's what we do.
Oh, yeah.
We have too much of something and we swap to something that we don't have. And in Mallorca, I set up a group called Mallorca Gardeners, and it is solely non-profitable, but just for swapping. And so many people are informative, and they're more than kind, their information and their experience. So I just really, really appreciate finding you on Facebook.
Yeah.
And if we could do something similar, I think that would be wonderful.
Oh, definitely. If you send me an email, and we'll sort something out about that. But your whole idea about swapping seeds and swapping plants with other people, how would you, if you're doing a competition, how would you monitor it? Was that going solely on trust?
Well, I think it would be solely on trust. Obviously only local, because not many of the Lidls, I mean, they were so expensive, you know, like $2.95 for a packet, and I think I got about 12 plants, but 15 came up. Yeah. So I'm quite happy to say to somebody, buy a plant for £3.
Yeah.
And tell me how many you've got, and if it's local, I'll go around and I'll take a picture. And they can have a small cash prize, because everything else will be going just feeding these African children.
Fantastic. What a great...
But they get the benefit of having all the tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, as well, it's win-win-win, isn't it, all the way round?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. I don't confiscate them.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a great idea, and it's I think Philly SPB has just put some brilliant ideas here, but we just give ours away to whoever wants them. So I'm really impressed with the ideas that we got coming through. Well, you were asking that, or were you the one asking when it's the right time to put plants outside?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, because obviously in Spain everything would have been outside now.
Yeah.
So I've got on east, south, and west windowsills. Absolutely everything is covered. I've even got loofah plants growing.
Yeah, I haven't even sown my loofah plant seeds yet, so.
Well, I can give you some. I've got 5 up already.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think compared to Spain, we're probably 6 to 8 weeks behind. So.
Oh, it's such a shame because then we get a shorter growing season, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't mean to bang on about Spain. But I was there 17 years, and that's where most of my gardening knowledge was gained.
Yeah.
So I'm now having to re-establish myself in Sussex, and worrying about frost.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the good thing is you're on the south coast, so you get quite mild weather here compared to other parts of the world.
Well, that's true. That's why I chose the south coast. I couldn't go any further north.
Yeah.
I don't have enough jumpers.
Yeah. Nigel has suggested, with regard to tomatoes, as a last resort, what you can do is cut the top of the stem of the tomato plant off and then pop that into a pot, and it will root and regrow, and it will be a bit later.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because one of the gardeners on my group has actually said to plant them deeper, and the roots come out all the way up the stem.
Yeah, that definitely happens too.
Yeah. So literally, it's like if they're 25 centimeters tall, put them in a nice tall pot, but plant them and snip off the bottom leaves, and then just have shorter plants. But then they've got a very healthy root system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great idea.
Okay. It's been fantastic talking to you.
Yeah,
thank you. I shall tune in.
Yeah, likewise. And please do send me an email, and we'll get a discussion going about this other idea.
I'd love to do that. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers.
Speak to you soon.
Yeah, you take care. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
There we go. So somebody else has suggested that, well, as you heard, got way too many plants going already and a bit too far ahead. Going to donate to a charity that feeds African children. How great is that? I've just realised with my setup, if somebody comes in, I can't see them. I'm going to have to change something there. Sean James Cameron is saying he's got some shark fin melons going spare if you need any. We all know that the shark fin melon just take over. It'd be great if you could block out or use them for covering or weed suppressing, I guess. Right. Did I miss any? So Digwell is saying, sow patty pan in May. Yeah, I tend to do a lot of my pumpkins and my squashes, particularly the winter squashes, in May, because for me it's pointless growing them, starting them now, and they get too big too quick, and they do grow quick, don't they? That's my opinion anyway. What else have we got? I think we've... Oh, no. What's this? How much money do you make? Oh, sorry. Didn't want to go. Sorry, that was a conversation between two people there. Apparently callers are very loud tonight, Richard. They're on. I haven't adjusted the volume at all, as far as I'm aware, unless I try taking that down. Oh, it sounds the same here, so I don't know. What else? Debbie, fold the stem 180 degrees on itself. This is talking about tomato plants. You can use a shorter pot and you will double the root growth. Yeah, I had this once before, well, with my tomato plants where I didn't stake them properly and they sort of went up and then flopped back down making more roots where they came into contact with the ground. I mean, I believe tomatoes in their natural habit are actually trailing, where they trail across the ground, almost like an ivy, and it roots into the ground, which is why they're so good at growing roots or taking cuttings and rooting from. And I know we can't really get away with this in the UK, but what they used to do in probably somewhere like Spain, so Debbie would probably be able to tell us that. You know, when you take out the side shoots of tomatoes, well, some people replant those and they get 2 crops from that one seed because those tomatoes then have time to regrow. We can't, I don't think we can do it in this country. I don't think our growing period is long enough here, but it's certainly something else that can be done. And Nui, I'm sending some cuttings to some from YouTube channels. Oh, we've got somebody in somebody in the allotment who's shared this with us. Leonard wrote, "Oh, it's Sean James Cameron by the looks of it."
Isn't it great that we can still be on the plots at 6:30?
Yeah.
I'm just about to leave
So
my plot now.
Oh, ain't you lucky? What do you do with your excess plants then, Sean?
We put them onto a table called a share table, and you can have as many as you want to, but everything on there is £1. So it doesn't matter if it's the tiniest plant or a really big plant, it's £1, and then all the money goes to the local cancer research people.
Right. So give it back to charity.
And we tend to raise about £500 a year by doing it.
Wow. See, I know Stuart, he raised over £1,000 last year doing it in his front garden.
It seems to be quite a good way of getting your plants out. And then we put a few extra seeds in, and then we do a few more extra plants in order for the share table. So we deliberately raise a bit of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although the most popular plant on the share table tends to be courgettes.
Yeah. How many courgette plants do you really need?
I was looking at the weather today for New York, and they are forecast a bit of snow. So maybe we'll get it, because I have heard we could have snow before Easter.
It's possible, but I doubt it. But we'll keep an eye on the weather. I haven't got a weather chart. Weather chart to check and see what's going on. But yeah.
Yes, I've been planting my shallots, sowing my onion seeds. What else have I done? Celeriac I've done today. So it's been a busy day. But what I noticed, and do you find this? I didn't turn up to my allotment until about 4 o'clock. And there was a completely different set of people. It seems to be, you can either be in the morning group or the afternoon group. And it's very rare that you get to see the other people there.
Yeah, I think there's people in there on our allotment who go during the week and not at the weekend, or people who only go on the weekend as well.
There's one guy who goes at 5 o'clock in the morning and he's gone by 8.
Oh, right. 5 o'clock in the morning, gone by 8. Oh,
so, yes.
Far too early for me.
So I'm going to have a nice steak with some vegetables that I grew last year, which are in the freezer.
Well, lucky you. That sounds fantastic. All right.
But it's nice to have the dry weather. The amount of time I've spent. See you later.
Are you going?
I think somebody was having their food delivered, and I was just about to get knocked over then.
All right.
Anyway, I will let you go.
All right, lovely. You take care, Sean.
See you later.
Nice to see you from you. Take care.
Bye.
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 Oh, yeah, he's gone. He's gone. There we go. That was Sean James Cameron. A few comments came in during that time. What have we got? Good evening. One ear listening in while cooking the tea. Sunny but cold day. Lots sewing undercover. Steve, what have you been sewing undercover? Let us know. Oh, he has let us know. I end up planting my excess plants and then get annoyed with myself for overcrowding things. Tempted to put some on the front of my house this year. I have way too many chili plants. Can never have too many chili plants. Never have too many chili plants. That's my opinion anyway, because I love chilies. What else have we got? Great idea. Excuse me. Great idea for a shared seed table or plant table. And what else? I have some Trombacino courgette seeds if anyone would like a few. Yeah, there's a few seeds going on, yeah. If anyone wants to share. So that's somebody in the seed sowing in the Facebook group. So if anybody wants some Trombacino courgette seeds. What else have we got? I tend to go to my allotment in the late afternoon in the summer months. Yeah, I've got to admit, right, let's get back on track, get my head in gear. Yeah, in the afternoons after work, I try and go down the allotment after work a bit more. I mean, I'm lucky because I do have the home plot going as well. So for me, it is very, very simple. Down the allotment, I could stop off there on my way home from work and what have you, but I'm the type of person that once I'm home, I'm kind of done for the evening. Other thing is, I don't have a job where I finish at an exact time. I could be working until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Not unheard for. So Amanda would like to swap some Trombacino. Oh, we've got somebody else. Oh, yeah, we've got somebody else in just coming into the group. But so whoever's in the Facebook group, Amanda, and you try and contact each other and sort something out about that. Here we go. Here's the man himself, Mr. Stuart Jackson. Hello, mate.
Good evening, Rich. How are you?
Hello, mate. How you doing?
You good?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
I'm doing fine. It's just glad to hear. Oh, great, mate. Great. It sort of really cheered me up listening to everybody donating all their plants or selling them to charity or giving them to the neighbour.
Yeah. I feel a bit bad for getting £6 for my plants now because I was going to put that to growing more plants. Now I feel I should donate that.
No. You shouldn't feel guilty because you've sold them on. You've made a little bit, and your aunt is going to make a bit for the charity. So you've done your bit.
Yeah.
But why shouldn't you? You've put the work in.
Well, I mean, it wasn't my intention. It was just I wanted to put them to use. She wanted to buy them, and I thought I could actually use the money to buy more composter stuff that I'm going to need to grow more plants.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I do. I've had to buy compost this week and go out and buy more seeds because people keep emailing me and asking specific plants that I've not grown enough of this year. So it's this veg growing that's sort of threw me.
Yeah, you've
changed you. Buy runner bean seeds. Just a little bit, yeah. But I don't mind. To me, it's doing what I set out to do. And if I'm getting 1 or 2 extra people out there gardening, I've done my job, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
It was just lovely to hear. You know, Sean saying they have a table that they give them away. You know, you pay £1 for regardless, whatever it is. I think that's a cracking idea. Because yes, you wouldn't pay £1 for a courgette plant, but you might for something else. You know, it's well, my courgettes didn't do very well last year.
Yeah, well, you're lucky then, I think. You say you wouldn't do
Yeah.
courgette plants, but you go in a garden centre and they do sell them for £1 a plant in some cases.
I
Sometimes
know, yeah. Yeah, I looked at chili plants because I've got quite a lot of chili plants, as you know. And I was looking yesterday in the garden centre to see what they were charging, and they were charging £150, and they're tiny plants, and they can't go out yet. You know, people are buying them, but they can't go out yet.
No.
Well, they might do where you live, but not up here.
No, they still won't go outside. They go in a greenhouse, in an unheated greenhouse, and even then, it could be a bit dodgy.
Yeah,
But
I've left mine indoors.
Talking of chilies, Adrian Cable has put a question in. What do you cook with chilies? And I'll get you to answer it first.
Well, as you probably are aware, I don't like spicy food. So personally, I don't use them to cook with, but the rest of my family do. So they would use the fresh ones if they had them. And that's my intention, is to keep some of the plants this year to then, because I think you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I've seen you thread them on a string.
I don't think I've threaded them, but I've spoken about it.
Yeah, you've spoken about it, and that's what I would like to do, because everybody else in my house loves chili. So, and it's always better if the stuff you use is fresh, so, or even dried a little bit. So I'm going to store them and see how I get on. But apparently you can store them all sorts of ways. You can put them in oil, so that you flavour your oil. So I'm going to try these things this year, because I'm going to have so many chilies. I'm going to try the different methods and see how I get on.
Well, you can freeze chilies as well, and I've stored chilies for about 5 years just by freezing them.
Oh wow! Well, that might be a good idea then. That might be. Yeah. But my sons, both of my kids are, you know, sort of adults anyway, but they say that they've seen it on YouTube or whatever, that you can put them in oil, so that when you use the oil, you get the chili flavour rather than you don't get so much heat. So anyway, I'm going to give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, you've got to heat the oil up so you don't get botulism when you do that. Just as a slight warning to everyone, you've got to heat the oil up when you start it, when you put the chilies in, so you don't get botulism. And I've not done it for a while because we have so many chilies that we don't feel the need. But it can be very mild. It can be a very mild flavour. It's also good for a dipping sauce. But something that Debbie's put in the comments, which I absolutely love making for my chilies, is chili jam. Oh my God, it is so delicious.
Yeah, that's something my son would eat.
It really is. I can't remember my recipe off the top of my head, but it is literally like a hot, sticky jam with that chili hit. It's delicious.
I'll have to look back on your website.
Yeah. It may not actually be on my website because I think I might have got it from somewhere else.
Borrowed.
Yeah. But yeah, other things I do with chili is chili con carne, curries.
Yeah.
I make if I've got some cayenne, I will dehydrate that and then grind it up into a powder to make chili powder, which you can do with any chili as well, to be honest. So it's quite a bit that we can do with chilies should we need it.
This year is going to be a massive learning curve for me because I'm growing things that I didn't grow last year. I learned the hard way that I don't like celeriac, so I'm not growing that. So I'm only growing that I know that's going to get used, apart from what goes on my table outside. So I'm glad other people are doing it. It doesn't matter if you give it to charity or you put it in your back pocket, as long as somebody is benefiting from your work.
Yeah,
because we've all done it. We all get a packet of carrot seeds and throw them all in, or cabbage seeds and put them all in. So we all learn. So, but I did put in the comments, I've tried parsnips and carrots this year in paper pots because my clay soil is so poor for germination. And I didn't think that, it just proves that it's the soil, not the seed. Because I must have well over 1,000 parsnips coming up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, because I'm on clay as well, and clay soil, it sticks together and it becomes very hard for a seed to break through, especially if you have rain and it caps itself over. Which is why I turn to no dig in the end, because it does create a much easier soil to sow seeds in.
Yeah, it's going to be another year or two before my soil's like yours, I think, because last year was obviously my first year as veg, so I'm going to need at least another year of compost on the top. So anyway, that's enough for me. I just wanted to tell everybody, that's really cheered me up, knowing that everybody does it, not just, I know that I know allotmenteers are really good at sharing stuff and swapping plants, but it's really nice to hear everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I love this, the charity of feeding African children as well.
Yeah, that was a really good idea. And turn it into a competition is really good as well, because then it gives people a bit of an incentive to look after the plant, and not only look after it, but you try a little bit harder because you want to be the one that gets more crop off the tomato plant.
Yeah.
That's really cracking idea. Anyway, I will go, and I will speak to you next week, mate.
Yeah, all right, mate. You take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Let me get rid of Stuart. So Debbie Foster has got a great recipe for basil jelly. That sounds delicious. Basil jelly, great with cheese. That I tell you what, I'd love to get that recipe as well. That sounds delicious. And you can freeze chilies whole and slice them into recipes as and when needed, which is pretty much what I do. Chilies are seeming to be very popular now. Same. I can't have chilies, but the rest of my family love cooking with them. Is it Ballycillian? Is your problem with chilies the heat? Because I've experimented and found people who don't like chilies start them off with the milder ones, and then they seem to get a taste for it, and then they'll start going on to stronger and stronger ones. And gardeners are one big happy family. Yes, that is absolutely right. Gardeners are one big happy family. I think it's fantastic to see and what's happening here on that. Now, if you want to call in, or the number is running across the bottom of the screen, 07307 135 174, or you can zap yourself in on the comments on the link that I've just posted in the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. If you're in the Facebook group, you probably won't see it, but not to worry either way. Oracle is nice to see so many charities getting something from the allotments. At the end of the day, we are all one big happy family. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely what we want to see is these people. I think this is the thing. Gardeners are absolutely such lovely people who do want to share and do want to promote gardening. And I think most of us who are, we got a YouTube channel and we're trying to encourage people on how to garden. And as Michael White has just put in the comments that gardening is a skill I wish I had. But gardening is a skill that everyone can learn from and can learn how to do. So it's just a case of finding what works for yourself. And there's plenty of people out there who would help you just by asking. So Yeah, Michael, if you have a particular problem or want to grow anything, let us know and we'll see what we can do to try and help. The Dippy Plotter. Plenty of kids need feeding in the UK and Ireland as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've often wondered about food banks. Slightly off topic here, but food banks. I know we're not allowed to give fresh food to food banks, which I think is wrong. I think the food banks should have fresh food, but from their point of view, they don't know how long it's going to sit on there. But what I would love to see, and if I had money, I would actually build one. Is I would buy a field in like a city farm type thing, and people who need to go to a food bank, they actually go to this city farm and they will be given fresh food. If I had the money, if I won the lottery, that is what I would set up. And there is no reason, absolutely no reason why anybody in this country would go without food. So totally right. UK and Ireland, plenty of kids that need their feeding there too. Totally right. Totally right. Yeah, I'm feeling quite humbled with this conversation. It's a lovely to see that so many charitable people are out there. Have I missed it? Right. So Ballycillian, he has IBS, which upsets his stomach. That does explain why he can't eat chili. So apologies for if I was a bit rude about that, but yeah. Stuart, yes, the heat I don't like, but as I'm growing lots this year, I will give it a go. Give them another go. There's a chili out there for everyone. I want to say there's a chili out there for everyone. Obviously, IBS is a slightly different thing, but I've given chilies to people who absolutely hate chilies, but I've given them the right one, the fruitier type ones, and people seem to really like those. Thank you for a wonderful show. I shall send you my basil jam recipe. Stay in touch, please do, and I'll be lovely. I will try and grow. I will try and make your basil jam recipe as soon as I can. Are a lot of gardeners storing seeds so as to avoid GM seed? I don't know is going to be my answer to that. I know we've only got about 4 crops or 4 seeds in the UK or something like that that are allowed to be GM, as far as I'm aware. But as for gardeners storing seeds, I know there are a few, but I think to the average gardener, they probably don't quite, and I'm saying the average gardener, probably don't quite realise what GM or genetically modified seed is all about and why it could be a problem. But definitely, I think it is a concern for many, many people. I am growing mild chili so I can stuff them with feta. Also delicious. Yeah, we take jalapenos and we'll stuff them with cream cheese, coat them in breadcrumbs, and then fry them or oven bake them if we don't want to use the fryer. And I need some now. I've had my dinner already, but I really want some stuffed chilies. All right, so we've got 5 minutes to go. I think the excess plants, we have basically all come to a census or an agreement that, yeah, give them away, share them, donate to charity. That's what we tend to do. If you want to zap yourself in, the link is on the screen, or if you want to call it in, the number is running across the bottom at 07307 135 174. So we'll start wrapping up because we've a few minutes to go. On the podcast this week, the audio podcast, I've been asked to share how I go about sowing or growing tomatoes and how I grow cucumbers. That'll be out Monday night, as always, unless there's a problem with the internet or anything like that. I've got a video coming out later this week about an experiment that I've started. And this experiment is growing garlic. Now, this is something you might have experimented with yourself. We're always told that garlic needs a period of time below a certain temperature which is why we tend to sow ours in, well, I do mine in September, October, but we tend to sow it in the winter. Well, I sowed some garlic yesterday, as well as my normal overwintered garlic. Sown some yesterday because I don't think we're going to get that cold weather that is going to cause it to snap. But this is what I want to find out, if it's actually true. Will that cold weather, or will it be too warm for that garlic to turn into individual cloves? That's what they want to find out. Right, yeah, Adrian is. I have my suspicion that supermarket salads are GM as they last so long. Well, as far as I'm aware, there are only something like 4, maybe 8 crops that are legally allowed to be GM in this country. But what they actually do with the salad bags is they pump an inert gas. I think it might be nitrogen. And that makes them last a long time. But they also, and this is the same for any food that a supermarket sells, select breeds of plants that are specifically there for a long shelf life. Flavour, when it comes to supermarkets, is so far down the bottom of the list. It's more about that transportability and having a long shelf life. Oh yeah, I forgot about the paper pot challenge. I forgot that. Sorry, sorry, Stuart. I did forget that. We'll do that. What is the topic next week? Not sure yet. We may make these paper pots, but if anybody's got an idea for a topic for next week, let us know and we can do something with it. Even if I can't eat them, it's a great pleasure growing for others to use. Yeah, agree with that. Some veggies sprayed to prevent them sprouting. This is coming back to what Adrian was saying about GM. Yes, the salad bags make me feel sick. Well, I always think that there's a good chance, because those leaves are, although they're cut off, they're still alive. They probably are taking in some of that gas. I think it's nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is obviously what we breathe in anyway, but not in quite the quantities that it comes in those bags with. Hot air fryers are great for that. I love my hot air fryer. Does the best chips. Absolutely fantastic bit of kit. And if you look at the cost of those bags, definitely far too expensive and so easy to grow. Pop garlic in a cold fridge to make it split. Yeah, I want to see if it does make a difference. That's in my entire thing I want to find out. Bags of supermarket lettuce goes off in days once opened. Yeah, that's why we grow our own, because we don't have to worry about that. We can go and harvest it, cut and come against salad leaves, harvest it, eat it, and it grows back. There's no travel miles. It's fresh, it's healthy, and that is it. Right, well, it is now 7 o'clock. We're going to wrap it up this evening. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been great chatting to you as always. It's been a great conversation, and I'm so humbled to hear how many people actually donate their plants to either gardeners or charities. It's really is quite humbling and fantastic to see. We'll be back again next week, same veg time, same veg place, is my little catchphrase I like to say now, where, as I said, don't know what we'll be discussing just yet, but we'll come back with that during the week and have an idea. I started making little adverts as well to advertise, if you've seen it on Facebook or Instagram. Basically, I've got this set up so I can just flick it on and go. So that's great. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll be back, like I say, next week. Take care. Bye for now.